Aha! Welcome back to the Thursday live stream. Now, as I alluded to on Twitter, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about, so I'm depending on you to come up with some suggestions in the chat. And speaking of chat, I guess I'll just get on with the greetings. So we have with us Bjorn is here. Greetings, Bjorn, and Jody is here. Fantastic. We also have the wonderfully named Monkey Boy Cloth Cat. It's good to see you here. 1980s and Star Wars guy, thanks for tuning in. Oh boy, already. Jody, what are you doing? Thank you so much. I say it every time, and I mean it when I say it, but you are one of the most generous people in this whole vintage toy nostalgia world, and I really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Very, very kind. Connor is here. Good to see you, Connor. Kevin Kelly, good to see you. And Matt from the Universal Collector is here. Good to see you as well, Matt. And we have Lone Dragon, good to see you. Gojitron, also here. Fantastic gathering today. We've got RDG SW Watt. Good to see you, Rob. Oh, and we've got M Watt. Is this the M Watt that's related to me by any chance? Only one can know. Hiya, Dean was literally just typing a reply to your last. Oh, yeah, that dish you made looked absolutely fantastic. And the fact that it had a connection to the 80s and Star Wars just made it even better. But nice job, though. You should become a chef, perhaps. Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Good evening, Dean. Perfect viewing as I'm working from home on the late shift till 11 p.m. UK time. So your live stream will help pass the time. Glad to hear it. Werewolf by lunchtime. It's 4 a.m. Wow. So either you're up early or you haven't gone to bed yet. Either way, thank you for coming. Ben says, hey, Dean, and all in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, no. So Megan, Stephen, and Casper are checking in. Oh, so I need to be on good behavior then. Oh, and Stephen is also here. I really do have to watch my language, or do I? I don't know. It depends. I think so far so good in these live streams. I have used some pretty bad language, and I've not been given a telling off by YouTube, so that's something. Kickback 1985 is here. Great to be here again. From an Irish Celt to a Scottish Celt, what's your view on pipe and drum bands? I like it to an extent, but after a while, it does become a bit grating on the old eardrums. Although when I do go back to Scotland, and especially on Princes Street, Edinburgh, when I hear them, it does bring back really good memories for me. But after a time, it does get to be a bit much. And Johnny Stratos is here. No, we don't forget you. Yeah, you got to get a cool screen name. Although I don't know, maybe I'll come up with one for you. I always watch, but just got courage to comment and say, "Oh, well, thank you, John. Nothing to be afraid of. If anyone's scared doing this, it's me. So you have absolutely nothing to worry about." Okay, so I'm looking for some suggestions as to what to talk about, because I am completely at a blank so far. Sup, Dean, favorite song on Somewhere in Time? Oh, Stranger in a Strange Land, for sure. That is in fact, that's one of my all-time favorite Iron Maiden songs. I actually do love Wasted Years, but it's been played so many times it's got a bit boring. Also, Sea of Madness is in there as well. Jody, well, technically, yes. Let me explain. When I was back in Scotland 2 years ago, cleaning out my parents' house, my mom had kept my page boy outfit from when I was 4 years old. I think her friend got married and I was the page boy. So technically I do own a kilt, but it's about, this size. But yeah. What's this? I'm sitting in a meeting in Charlotte. Just bought a double telescoping Ben Kenobi mint on card. Oh, and a 1977 Cream Mag Kiss Special. Wow, very nice. Bjorn asks, what's everyone's favorite Transformer? Mine would be probably Soundwave. And Jody replies, Soundwave and Tracks. Keith Knight is here. Excellent. Good to see you, Keith. And I really did enjoy that chat we had last week. And following on from last week's stream, we were discussing Do They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid. And upon a really in-depth listen to the song, there is indeed real bass guitar. So there you go. There's a bit of information for you. Hang on. Oh, Anthony is here. Oh, good to see you, Anthony. Again, I do apologize if I don't bring up your comment on the screen. It's just really hard to stay up, to stay in time with things. So I do apologize. And Bjorn's wearing a Soundwave shirt right now. Excellent. Another vote for Soundwave. All Things 80s. Now that you've completed your Star Wars run, what is next for All Things 80s? What is next for All Things 80s is to not spend any money. Excuse me, it's been a really... This year has been quite crazy, but also very satisfying. A lot of goals were reached in terms of collecting things. But now I'm going to take a step back and enjoy what I have. Another vote for Soundwave. So is the general opinion that Soundwave is the greatest Transformer of all? I might have something to give to you, good sir. Oh, thank you. How do I find out to send it to you, Dean? I'm not going to say what it is other than it's G1. Wow, thank you so much. Either on the All Things 80s Facebook, All Things 80s Twitter, or on YouTube under, I think the tab is About, possibly. There is a button you can press to email, I believe. Thundercracker and Soundwave, but again, Soundwave is getting mentioned there. Bearded Geek Toys, he votes for Optimus Prime, Soundwave, and Jazz. Also liked Skywarp, even though he was just a repaint of Starscream. Yeah, that's the thing with the Seeker jets. They were all basically just repaints. So once you had one, you essentially had them all in terms of playing with them, but they do look good together lined up. Soundwave superior, everyone else inferior. Number of the Beast has to be Hallowed Be Thy Name. Yes, however, I really don't care for the recorded version on the album. It's just the tempo is too slow, and people won't like this, but I'm not a huge fan of Clive Burr's drumming. I think Nika McBrain coming in really took things up a level. Also, Number of the Beast, I might also say The Prisoner is one of my all-time favorite Maiden songs. So there's more love for tracks. Scott Hughes is here. Good to see you, Scott. You know what? It just so happens that today I finished sitting down with your wonderful binder of notes and listened to my second Iced Earth album. Thoroughly enjoyed them, the first two that you get sent to me. And I'm definitely hearing the Judas Priest influence. Really good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to continuing that journey, learning more about Iced Earth. Anthony, I have something in the works for you, Dean. Thank you, Anthony. You, again, are extremely generous. So here's a big comment here. Hey, Gen X Toys Geek Jody. Do you guys like the Vince DiCola instrumental parts of the Transformers the movie soundtrack? I'm a big fan. And the thing, okay, so my current involvement with the Transformers cartoon is that I did watch all of season one this year, and whilst I enjoyed it, as with Mask, it was all a bit repetitive. So I've not watched season two or the movie yet, but I will get to that. But I don't think anything's going to top the music that was used in Mask, though. Um, so John says Soundwave, but Rumble was always a fave. Yeah, good choices. So clearly, there's a lot of love for Soundwave, but no one has mentioned the very similar Transformer Blaster. And I did get the Blaster, and it's just, whilst it's essentially the same idea as Soundwave, it's just not as cool for some reason. And Jody has a great answer to that question. I love everything about this Transformers, the movie soundtrack. Excellent. I'm thinking Motu Origins. Let's talk about that or Mask. Yep. Let's see what the general consensus is here, because I'm happy to talk about either of those. Oh, there's a vote for Hound. So Jody preferred the Coneheads over the normal Seekers. I think I'm the opposite, actually. Any Wheeled Warrior fans? I can't say I am, but maybe there will be in the comments. Oh, so Scott says that's awesome. Oh yeah, it really is. And honestly, when I was listening to the first album, I had to think to myself, is this actually Judas Priest I'm listening to? Because the sound and the vocals were very much in that vein. I met Iron Maiden when I was younger. Nico McBrain looks really scary. Yeah, he's not an attractive man, that's for sure. But you know what? I really wish I had more of his personality, because he's like so outgoing and funny, and I'm the complete opposite. Jonathan is here. Good to see you. Boba Hicks is here. I like the toys, but never saw the cartoon. Yeah, it's funny because, as I've said many times recently, I just finished watching all 75 episodes of Mask, and thinking back to the 80s, I was definitely all about the toys and less so about the cartoon. And having watched them all again, I understand now why I preferred the toys to the cartoon. Excuse me. This is a good point. Live After Death, still one of the best live albums released. Yeah. And I guess the fact that it is a genuinely live album makes it better. There's no sort of touching up. Peace of Mind is too difficult to choose a number one song. Yeah, that's true. Maybe Still Life or Die With Your Boots On. Interestingly enough, Iron Maiden have this habit of not always releasing the best songs as singles. That seems to have been the case throughout their career. There were always much better album tracks than singles for some reason. Oh, Mark Telfer is here. Good to see you, Mark. And Dave from Vintage Toy Rush. So he's voting for Jazz, Wheeljack, and Smokescreen. Yeah, Jazz is, pretty damn cool, as is Wheeljack. Although I don't like those sort of weird gorilla arms that when he's in robot mode. Evening, George. Good to see you. So this is going back to Blaster. So Blaster was okay, just not in the show enough to really get the cult following Soundwave has. Well, that's probably true as well, actually. So Monkey Boy recently spent over £100 on a mint in box Takara Sound Blaster. Yeah. I hear you all were talking about the Transformers, the movie. Yes. Oh, Jim, good to see you. I was too busy reading the comment and not the name. Sorry about that. Yeah. Um, I think the question asked was, what is your favorite Transformer? And the general opinion is that Soundwave. Um, Again, this is interesting with toys back in the 80s. This applies to certainly Transformers and Mask, and it also does tie in with the cartoon. But the villains were released in such small numbers compared to the heroes, and it does seem that most people do have a tendency to favor the villains more so than the heroes. So it's rather annoying that there were not as many villains released. But anyway, so we've got some suggestions here. So Lone Dragon wants Grimlock, Slag, and Springer. Also Blitzwing. I have to confess that my time with Transformers in the 80s only lasted for the first wave of. In fact, that's not quite true, because I did get a couple of wave twos. But after the initial batch of Wave 2s, I was no longer collecting Transformers, so I'm not familiar with a lot of these names, such as Skylynx. Don't know who that is. Blaster was also great, always ready to boogie. Yeah, Soundwave is one of those characters that always sells. Yeah. The greatest Transformer character was Shockwave. He was the true leader of the Decepticons. Yeah. Great question. What is it about Soundwave that people like so much? Well, for me, it was just the coolness factor of the toy that, given its release in the 80s, coincided with the success of the actual Walkman. To get a toy that transformed from that little tape player into a robot was cool. And if that wasn't cool enough, to have micro cassettes that also transformed was just mind-blowing for me as a kid, and I'm sure that probably stuck with a lot of people. The Transformers are all dead. Marvel UK comic cover made me a Shockwave fan for life. Shockwave is great. I wish they used a better voice cast and more G1 voice in the War for Cybertron and the Fall of Cybertron games. Okay, I've never played any of those games. Fun fact, Bruce Dickinson, Maiden's frontman, is a qualified pilot, and that's his full-time date. Yeah, absolutely. I forget, was it possibly Icelandair that he was employed by? I do remember in Scotland, the football team known as the Rangers were playing in Europe, and Bruce was the pilot taking them somewhere. Flash of the Blade has grown me over the years. Yeah, it's another great song. I like Lost for Words because there's no effing singer on it. Anyway, Big Basil is in the house, you sexy mofos. Soundwave was one of the few Decepticons that's not an incompetent idiot. Yeah, that's true. That's another thing about the cartoons back then. All the villains they made the characters like so stupid and like really like think about the Mask cartoon with some of the cliched tough guy dumb accents they gave them. What's this? Has anyone seen Cybertronic Spree? Retro tunes played by Transform. Yeah, I've seen that. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah. So the version of Phantom of the Opera on Live After Death is absolutely. Now I'm thinking back. That was not part of the Long Beach concert. Am I right? That was from Hammersmith Odeon. I think there were 5 tracks at the end of Live After Death that weren't part of the main concert, but I actually believe that 4th side is the best side of Live After Death. So, commercial airline pilot. I think he worked for EasyJet or Searchlight for a while. Yeah, he certainly won't be flying any commercial flights at the moment because he's got long hair again. Ah, Keith Chaos, good to see you. Of the G1, definitely Soundwave. So it's a unanimous decision. Soundwave is the king of G1 Transformers. Um, sounds like that dubbed action series from the 80s of The Flashing Blade. So what's this? Skylynx is Commander Modesty. Kind of looks like a space dragon. You see, I'm going to be controversial again and say that I'm not a fan of the Dinobots either. I liked my Transformers to go from vehicle to robot. When I was a kid playing, I wasn't playing with dinosaurs prior to Transformers coming out, so I had no real attachment to dinosaurs. I have a chance at winning a G1 Megatron tonight. Awesome. I think I got quite lucky. The one I got was a Takara reissue, and fortunately, it hadn't been given that stupid orange tip. So I still I do apologize about that. I've done that before actually. Cut myself off and I've lost my place. So yes, um, it is rather annoying that the proper Megatron is banned. I guess it's all over the world now. You can't get one that transforms into a gun. Um, Scott says, it seems that I'm in the minority. However, if I just wanted to put on an Iron Maiden album, listen to back to front, it would be Power Slave. Oh no, Power Slave is definitely in, I would say, in most people's top three. What's this? Some people here are replying to me directly. How do I reply to those who have replied to me? I'm useless with this computer world. I don't believe it's possible to have interactions within the chat. Met Nico McBrain at a drumming event, and he was happy to sign my box set of First 10 Years collection. Oh, very nice. I met him, it was 93. This is like a funny sort of off topic story. So it was 1993, and it was in Edinburgh. And he did his drum show and Q&A and whatnot, and he hung out afterwards. And as you all know, he has been using Paiste cymbals since day one. And at the time when I was playing drums, I was all about Zildjian cymbals. And I had this Zildjian baseball jacket, which was that sort of wool body with the leather sleeves. And it was all black with the golden Zildjian embroidered up here on the back. It had the whole Zildjian Avedis symbol thing. Symbol as an SY, not C. Anyway, so I said to him, I know you hate this, but go and sign it anyway. And he wrote something like, this sucks with with an arrow pointing to the Zildjian logo, and then he signed it. But it got worn off when I was at a Status Quo concert later that year. Yeah, there you go, little off-topic story there. So Mastermind Creations made the Decepticon cassettes in True Life cassette size. That'd be pretty cool. That I would like to see. The thing that was always cool about Soundwave was the fact that his guns were AA batteries that actually fit in what would be the toy's battery compartment. Absolutely. Yeah. Everything about that toy is just fantastic, in my opinion. The first couple of Fall of Cybertron games are amazing, so worth a playthrough. Yeah. I keep saying this every week. there are just not enough hours in the day to do everything I want to do, and I don't think I could justify sitting down to start playing games, unfortunately. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but my time management is just terrible. It really is. Um, so this is going back to the Transformers band, and their cover of Zeppelin's Immigrant Song is absolutely... Oh, I need to listen to that. So, do you collect vinyl albums? I'd like to get Maiden's first pressing someday. No, sadly not. I did. Well, I wouldn't say collected them. I just bought albums back in the day because that's what there was, and those all got sold prior to coming here, sadly. And I no longer have any CDs either. It was just, I think, for me, I got very lucky because I got given my first iPod in 2007, and I moved everything onto that iPod. And then I realized, well, hey, I'm not playing the CDs anymore. And CDs were still in vogue at the time. And because I had a lot of UK special editions, especially the singles, I was able to sell them here in America for top dollar. So I got a lot of money. And then shortly after, the arse fell out of the market for CDs, and now they're more or less coasters. Oh, hi, Kieran. Sorry late, but had to do the washing up. Oh, good lad. So what else can we discuss? So Keith says, I blamed one of my cats for the blackout. Damn, nothing more humiliating than having to apologize to a fucking cat. Yeah, that was actually me, clumsy. Oh, that looks a bit rude. No, I was just swiping, and I managed to end the broadcast. That's twice I've done that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong sometimes. So, Jodie's giving some advice that if you do the @ sign and the user's name and then type the message in, it will actually highlight the other person's name so they can maybe see it stand out more. That's good advice. Thanks, Jodie. So Lone Dragon has met Weird Al Yankovic. Hell of a nice guy and funny. I'm sure he is. And Mark says Revelations is one of the best Iron Maiden songs. Yeah, that says something about Iron Maiden, that it is very difficult to pick a best song on each album because there's so much great material, which can't be said for a lot of other bands. So Keith is wearing his Maiden West Ham United shirt right now. That must be one of the coolest things, to the fact that you were a West Ham fan and then Iron Maiden combined that into their merch. I guess you know what, I'm not a Proclaimers fan. I like them, but Hibs' current third strip, it's yellow and it has the lyrics to Sunshine on Leith all over the shirt, which is kind of cool, but not cool enough for me to buy, but it's a nice idea. Wow, Mark, who are you talking about, Mark? That boy's heat is so big, it's got its own interplanetary weather system. All right, I've got to try and find out what this is. I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing, Mark. Sounds interesting, though. He's going to cry himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow. Who are we talking about? I'm intrigued. Play Where Eagles Dare intro for us on drums, Dean. There you go. Oh, you know what? Speaking of music, so I announced this on Patreon the other day. So I keep saying this in these live streams that I wished I had time to do music and stuff and blah, 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 making excuses. So in the last few days, I said, you know what? I want to do music again. And for as long as I can remember, I've had this dream of doing a Christmas song. So I went into my library of unfinished music and I found this pop song I'd been working on like 2 or 3 years ago. And I only had like some half a verse and a bit of a chorus. And I thought, you know what? If you throw on some sleigh bells and some chimes, that instantly becomes Christmas music. So I've finished up the entire song musically. Now, no one wants to hear me sing. So I'm thinking to myself, how can I turn this into a full-blown song? Then I realize I'll do it William Shatner spoken word style. So I have to come up with lyrics and then record them. And if that goes well, I will then do a music video, which obviously will require the whole Christmas thing. So that won't be done until, early December when the decorations go up. So maybe by the end of the first week in December, I might have a Christmas video ready. It would be hilarious. I mean, as I said, vocally, it'll have to be like William Shatner because I'm not going to sing. And if anyone has seen William Shatner perform Rocket Man, that will give you an idea of what I have in mind for the video. Anyway, moving on. If I think if you copy their name with the @ yep, correct. You don't even have to copy, just type the @ sign and the first 2 letters and it shows on the list. Oh, I didn't even know that. I've always been copying the person's name and doing @ and pasting in their name. That's great advice, Jody. Thanks. Okay, which was the most satisfying to get? So I'm assuming you mean in completing the collection. Satisfying. Well, it wasn't Romba the Ewok, which ended things. That was ending it on a bit of a low note, if I'm being honest. But the most satisfying one. Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, getting or removing a brand new Luke Jedi Knight was very satisfying because, as I've shared many times, the one I had as a kid did not come with the blaster or lightsaber. So to get one complete was, after 3.5+ decades, was rather satisfying. So that one counts as one of the more satisfying ones. Believe it or not, the Emperor, because that one came from a mail-away box that was sealed, and when I opened that bag, the aroma of Kenner plastic was fantastic. Oh, I'm going to jump ahead. So I know what I can do. So 3:27 p.m. was the last comment I got to here. But jumping ahead, another just cause from Jody. Jody, thank you so much. You really are such a gentleman. I've never come across anyone quite so generous in my life. So I said 3:27 and I'm back at 3:27. Very good. Have you noticed the new action figures in Target? Well, speaking of Target, this is becoming a habit now. We were back again on Monday. The reason being, so we went to Target for the first time ever back in April, and we went back again a few weeks ago. But also next to Target was a new Kohl's, and we went to Kohl's a few weeks back and bought stuff. And in doing so, they gave us the Kohl's Cash certificate, which had to be used ASAP. So we went back to Kohl's on Monday and popped back into Target. And the toy section was even worse than it was the last time. It's an absolute disgrace. There wasn't one single thing worth buying. Okay, they had, and here's the other thing though. Why is it Lego has no problem getting stuff on the shelves, but everything else just complete bare? Of course, He-Man and Skeletor, and they were charging, I think, $20 for those first issue He-Man and Skeletor figures. But no, I've not seen anything good in Target. Neil misses CDs and vinyl, but I don't miss cassettes. Yeah, I definitely do miss vinyl because it was a whole experience with the big cover and all the inner sleeve, and sometimes you got a booklet to read. Yeah, I do miss all that. Aussie Toy Guy asks, do you collect Marvel Legends or just toys from the 80s? I do not collect Marvel Legends, and 95% of what I collect is definitely from the 80s. Technically, Origins is an 80s toy. So really the only modern thing that I've collected would be the McFarlane Batman stuff, along with the Figures Toy Company Batman, the Mattel Batman. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Retro Collection Star Wars kind of is 80s, but you get my point. No, I don't collect Marvel Legends. I don't dislike Marvel. I'm just not, I don't go out of my way to watch anything Marvel. Again, that's something that people will learn in time with me, that I am very stuck in my ways, and I don't gravitate towards too much in the way of modern stuff. All right, okay. I'm not kidding. It's like an orange on a toothpick. So someone has a massive head, and I don't know who it is, and it's bothering me now. I've been binging your Star Wars videos this week. I love them. Oh, thank you. And you know what? So, believe it or not, I expect to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year, which is completely mind-blowing to me. And I figured once I get to that number, which will also coincide with a new year, I'm going to revamp the channel so everything's got a really consistent look to it, and part of that will be creating playlists and things. So I will be able to have similar videos all in a playlist, which should make things easier should anyone wish to binge. I mean, I still can't believe that there are 10,000 people who think that what I have to say is worth watching, but there you go. Crazy. What do you think about Eternals figures? I have no idea who the Eternals are, and as a result, I don't know anything about the figures. Why does the football team need a third strip? No, it's a very good question. It's all about this. Absolutely no reason for it. The funny thing was, when I began watching football, I went to my first game in, I think it was 1986, January of 86, Scottish Cup game, Hibs versus either Ayr United or Dunfermline. The next round was Ayr United or Dunfermline. But the point I'm getting at is, back then, I don't think Hibs ever wore an away strip, even when playing Celtic in green and white. But just in recent years, it's just gone over the top with the number of strips teams release. Sorry, Dean, we're having a laugh about I Married an Axe Murder move. Oh, okay. Oh, so I thought you were talking about someone we all knew. That's a bit of a disappointment. All things 80s. It's Mike Myers and So I Married an Axe. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it was some juicy gossip. Anyway. Mike Myers. Eagles Dare drums are awesome. It was meant to mimic a machine gun. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. You see, people who aren't into heavy metal, I think, or they think that metal is just dumb and not real musicians, but there are so many examples of metal songs where the instruments mimic what's being sung about. For example, take The Trooper by Iron Maiden. That lead harmony part is meant to be like the bugles on the battlefield. The chugging guitars are the horses galloping. I guess the most obvious one will be the snare drum and the double kick in One from Metallica. Another one I like is Train of Consequences by Megadeth, with the sort of just like a steam train. A lot of thought goes into the music, actually, and it bothers me that people don't give it the respect it deserves. So Kieran says, the only Marvel Legends Eternals figure worth picking up is Athena. The rest, like the Shang-Chi figures, are destined to be eternal peg warmers. Okay. So I'm assuming that Eternals, is it a superhero movie made up of superheroes that I've never heard of? Have you heard Shatner's Deep Fried Turkey remix? No. I'll need to I'll need to go into that. Here's the thing about Shatner's performance of Rocket Man. I'm not sure what the TV show was, but it's just genius the way he's been able to clone himself. So obviously it's been 3 separate takes. And unlike singing, to be able to lip sync spoken word and get it perfectly timed up, that is a hell of a talent. And that's what's worrying me about my attempt at this, because obviously I'm going to have to speak the lyrics and record them. And then to do the video, have to try and sync that up in some way, which I don't think I'll be able to do very convincingly. So I'll need to think about that. But yeah, that was a hell of a performance. And the fact that he managed to time the whole song so that the cigarette wouldn't burn out, that's also a lot of talent there. What do you think about the Violent Femmes? I don't know. Is that a band? Is it a group of vigilantes? I don't know. Sorry. After the period where CD values tanked, they started going up again due to the lack of availability. I have about half of my collection catalogued in Discogs, and the max estimated value is almost 9,000. Wow. I do know that my biggest sellers were my Iron Maiden collection, Metallica, and Megadeth, because I had a lot of CD singles that were like UK only releases. And from memory, back in 2007, I think I got in excess of 500 or 600 for each of those bands, which I thought was fantastic. Jim is here. Good to see you, Jim. I'm like a player on Wheel of Fish. So stupid. But what a film. So Eternals are peg warming too. And Keith is addressing the third strip, so its parents have to buy their kids more shirts. It's not a rock tune, but there are guitars on it. And I had to, here's the thing, I don't want to give the impression that I'm a musician, because I'm not. I can play a bit of most stuff, but none of it particularly well. One thing I cannot do at all well is lead guitar, but I've managed to knock something out. So there is a guitar solo in this song. It's just, and like I said, throwing on sleigh bells and some chimes just gave it that whole Christmas vibe. So I'm thinking it's going to be quite funny if I can get the lyrics, if I can write good lyrics and speak them the way Shatner does. It could be okay. Oh, favorite Maiden illustration. Oh, that's a good one. Is it too easy to say Somewhere in Time? Yeah, actually, I do like the look of Power Slave as well. It's just, I love the bright colors on Power Slave. Oh, great question, Dave. The first Maiden album, I like the songs, I don't like the production, and I am not a fan of Paul Di'Anno's voice. Um, and again, people will hate me for saying this, but I was never a fan of Clive Burr's drumming. It doesn't ruin the songs, but it's just not what I like to hear. But as a debut album, it is one of the best. In fact, there are so many great metal debut albums. For example, another great one is the first Wasp album. That's an absolute classic. Um, Kill 'Em All, not so much. Megadeth's "Killing Is My Business," I think is pretty awful. It's again, production quality is horrendous, and I think Mustaine was just trying to really put one up on Metallica by saying, "Look how fast I can play," and to me, it's all over the place. But made up for it with Peace Sells, that's for sure. Um, William Shatner, Inside Out Mask for Halloween, The Shape. Mike Myers in that too, yeah. Weird Al did have a cameo in all three Naked Gun movies and did the theme for Spy Hard. I understand he and Leslie Nielsen were neighbors. That's cool. Um, so, an idea for discussion. What about we name our favorite figures from a different toy lines? Yeah. Here's something that occurred to me the other day. I forget who it was that I was speaking with, but they had said there was a figure that came out that had the same name as them, and that made them very happy. Now, what I didn't know at the time was one of my favorite Fisher Price Adventure People toys was the dirt bike and sidecar. And when that was, I think the one I had came in a box, but it was also released on a card back. And the card back states that one of the figures' name was Dean. I thought that's pretty cool. Another one that I really liked as a kid was in the Action Force because of the Black Major, which was really awesome. So it was pretty cool to have figures that shared your name. What does Mrs. 88 think of you collecting? Does she also like 80s pop culture? She fully encourages it, so I'm very, very lucky. And as she said, I'm not hanging out in bars or doing drugs. So there is that. 80s pop culture. Well, she is, what, 7 years younger than me. So she was born in 81. So I'm not really sure what her memories. She doesn't have the same memories that I do. Um, she, well, not necessarily 80s pop culture, but she does like Harry Potter, which, fair enough. I've never seen any Harry Potter movies, so I don't know if it's good or not, but yeah. Because Mattel have now switched to the vintage heads for Origins, the Wave 1 He-Man and Skeletor figures have become hot again. Good lord. Yeah. I'm still slightly annoyed at that because if they had done it the other way round, whereby the first release had the vintage heads and then they came out with the modern heads, would you have bought the modern head ones? Because I certainly wouldn't have. Oh, this is awesome. So Keith still has an old Fostex 4-track that runs on old cassette tapes. Fantastic. Uh, Lego was always well stocked everywhere except for earlier this summer in the UK when the Brexit distribution problems hit. But it's more or less back to normal now. Yeah, so that's the point. How is it Lego can get their products on the shelves, but no one else can? The smell of new vinyl albums is very rare to find nowadays. Modern albums don't smell the same. Oh, that's a pity. I remember having it was like an anti-static cloth, but It was kept in a sealed bag and it had a slight sort of dampness to it. That had a very distinct smell, I remember. That's okay. Most people either prefer DC or Marvel. I prefer DC. Again, in terms of superheroes, for me, I like Batman 1966. I've watched all the Batman movies and sure, I enjoyed them, but I have no desire to collect anything from these modern versions of Batman. And on that very topic, John likes the Batman 66. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I have to jump ahead. So 339. And another of the most generous people in this community, Tree Theodore. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. You are just beyond generous, and I'm very humbled by it. I really am. And I think I said, what was it, 339 we'd got to? Yeah, there we go. Keith says, Dean, you have a superb channel here, and it's always an absolute blast. That's why you are knocking on 10. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And again, and Ben says, well deserved. Well, thank you. And you know what? I'm not trying to give myself a pat on the back, but I have done it my way. I've never begged or sold out. I just do what I do. And if people like it, that is wonderful. Yeah, I still blows my mind though. The new Dune figures are pretty cool, but I'm hunting for the accessories from a 1984 LGN Dune figures, expensive as fuck on eBay. Yeah, anything from the 80s is really getting to be rather expensive. Robbie, good to see you. At 6:40 in the morning in Brisbane. Well, hello there, and good morning to you. So yeah, Lego never has empty shelves. Yet other toy companies struggle to get the product out. Yep. And okay, I'm not really involved in Lego anymore. I used to. I think it was from 2012 until maybe 2016, 17. I was collecting Star Wars Lego, but only from the original trilogy. And there were, whenever they would announce a new set coming out, I was able to get it no problem. There was no scalping going on. And I'm assuming because Lego is always on the shelves, Lego doesn't get scalped. I'm assuming that's to be the case. You can let me know if that's not, but it just goes to show you, if you put the product on the shelves, let the customers buy it, everyone wins. I don't know what that was. Kieran, Dean, even if we didn't share a love for toys in the 80s, I would still tune in as you were a very engaging and decent bloke. Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you. How ironic is that there is a fair amount of Maiden in this chat, and I went downstairs to have a smoke, and my older brother, a Maiden fan, is doing a jigsaw puzzle of their first album cover. That's cool. Yeah, I've seen those jigsaw puzzles for sale. Pretty nice. It's nice to see so many folk. Yeah, it is very nice. That's why I'm more of a Lego collector these days. Can't really find anything else. Yeah. Speaking of Lego, I forget, is it 700 or $800? This new AT-AT, and it got me thinking that some of the prices for these new things are getting to be a bit on the ridiculous side. I mean, $800 for a Lego set. I don't care how big it is. That is too much money, in my opinion. Can't find anything new at my Target or Walmart. You know what? I've never actually posted one of these pictures that you always see online where people take photographs of the empty shelves. One of my really only local source for toys is my local Walgreens. And I've had a few half decent things from them, but that is the current state of their toy department. It's terrible, really. And the funny thing is, for whatever reason, Walgreens, the pharmacy, seems to get a lot of exclusive figures, which I think is quite crazy. Eternals is based on an old Jack Kirby Marvel comic, but the characters are all cosmic gods, not normal down to earth heroes like Cap, Iron Man, and Spidey. Okay. So, what's your favorite Lego set? Of the ones I had I had a hell of a lot actually. I did have an AT-AT, and I also had the big Star Destroyer, Millennium Falcon, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Land Speeder. But I think one of the favorite sets I had was the Echo Base on Hoth. Anything Hoth I'm a big fan of, and that was probably my favorite set. So Jody has the UCS Superstar Destroyer or the Ghostbusters Firehouse. Cool. One that I missed out on, I'm not that bothered about, but it would be nice, was the Wayne Manor from the Batman 66. I actually have the new set, the 66 Batmobile, that I've not done anything with yet. I'm waiting for a day where I can just take my time and build it, and I'll do a video of that. Now, Scott's favourite metal drummers: Chris Adler, Dave Lombardo, Nick Menza, Gene Hoglan, and of course Nico McBrain. Yeah, very good choices. This will get people laughing, but like all the music stuff it's all self-taught, and I actually learned to play drums from watching videos of Nico McBrain and, believe it or not, Lars Ulrich. I still love Lars, but I understand why people don't like his drumming these days, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, I remember these long box CD cases. Those were really cool. Actually, the question about my favorite Lego, I answered it based on Star Wars Lego. My all-time favorite Lego were those space cruisers. There were 3 of them. I had the smallest one. But one day I will look for that massive one that I think it opened up at the back and had the little buggy that would go into it. That's a real favorite of mine. In fact, I have all my childhood Lego in a big box over there. A couple years back, I went through it to find the pieces to build a couple of my old space sets, small ones. But I really should go through it, separate it all by colors, and start rebuilding those space sets again, because space Lego, I think, is top 3 greatest toys ever. Again, that's in my opinion. Right now, the space rover that they released, a part of their space sub-theme for City. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, I've not seen any Lego movies, but I don't like how they changed the shape of the helmet for the modern spaceman. I like everything how it was back in the day. So Bearded Geek Toy Reviews has the large Millennium Falcon and Death Star. That's huge. Yeah, really great Lego sets. Tez is here in ninja mode at work, but 1 year open. Good to see you, Tez. Excuse me. Knights of Old loves Bill Ward's drumming. Yeah. What are my opinions on Kiss? I love Kiss. I understand the whole money grabbing aspect that Kiss seems to be more famous for than actual music, and that's not something that I want to see. But to me, there's nothing quite like a Kiss concert. It's just such a spectacle. It really is. Yeah, I do love Kiss. Knights of Old says Suicidal Tendencies had an unbelievably good. Yeah, absolutely. And Keith Knight agrees with me regarding Diano and Clive Burr, so I'm not alone. That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, nothing against those guys. It just, you see, part of the problem was I had heard Bruce Dickinson Maiden before I heard Paul Diano Maiden, and it's hard to adjust back the way. And with regards to the Clive Burr drumming, it's just there's too much swing to it, if that makes sense. I like my metal drumming to be not locked into a grid, but on point. And the swing to me didn't work. But again, these are just my opinions. I'm still mind blown that Weird Al is able to sing the entire plot of Star Wars Episode 1 in like 3 minutes. Oh, here we go. Yep. The Daley Thompson Lucasade ad was the first time I heard Maiden. Must have been 7. Yep. That was hilarious because we all knew that Daley Thompson Lucasade commercial on TV. And whilst I got into Iron Maiden first time round in 82, 83, it wasn't until 1988, I believe, that I was given a copy of Live After Death. And when I was listening to the fourth side, I'm like, what the hell? This is the Lucasade commercial. Yeah, that's probably everyone's first introduction to Iron Maiden in the UK. So Daniel says, I didn't know that they did a Lego Ghostbusters Firehouse. Yeah. Funny thing was, when we were playing with Lego as kids in the 80s, there were no franchise sets. It was just whatever Lego came up with themselves. And I think I'm in a way I preferred that, because now that we have all the Star Wars, Harry Potter, etc., those sets cost a hell of a lot more than the standard sets. I always remember Lego being a reasonably affordable thing to collect. Jack Kirby created the Eternals in '76 for Marvel Comics. They are secret superpowered heroes who have helped mankind since the dawn of time. The comic book was cancelled after 19 issues. All right, so again, I'm not up to date with Marvel, but it just seems odd that you would make a movie with a story that was cancelled, but who knows. Betty Swallocks. Daley Thompson. Who is he? Is he in a band? No, he was the decathlete. In fact, he had a wonderful video game where it wasn't so much skills, but how fast you could smash the two buttons. Yeah, look up Daley Thompson, the decathlon. Knights of Old. Number of the Beast drums were perfect. Again, may not have been Clive Burr's fault, but to me, Hallowed Be Thy Name is just far too slow on the album anyway. And also when he does this sort of the 16th notes on hand, I don't like that one bit. Anyway. Okay, Bjorn, it was good to see you here. Exactly, you're not wasting money in bars, gambling, doing drugs, or pissing it up against the wall. Fair play to your good lady. She's all, yeah, absolutely. I have spent enough in the past pissing it up against the wall, so I don't need to be doing that again. And the funny thing is, as I've gotten older, I think I've become much more antisocial, and I really couldn't stomach the thought of sitting in a crowded bar, having to shout to have a conversation. If I want a drink, I'll grab beer at the deli and come home and drink it. In fact, it's been so long since I've been in a bar, I don't know what it costs for a drink these days. If I remember rightly, in Christmas of 2019, Christmas Eve, in fact, Mrs. 88 was still at work, and I'd finished all my preparations for Christmas dinner. So I thought, you know what, let me go and experience sitting in a bar on Christmas Eve again. And I went to the bar just over the street here. And I felt a bit weird because everyone was in groups and I just sat at the end of the bar on my own. And I think I paid something like $7 for a pint of Guinness. I'm assuming it's gone up since then. $7 or $8 for a beer. That's too much. And that's in Brooklyn. Forget it in Manhattan. In fact, I remember the last concert we were at was Iron Maiden in July of 2019. And the funny thing was, prior to going to leaving here to go to the concert, we were drinking at home, and I had bought myself a big 24-ounce, or a few of them, 24-ounce Coors Lights, which sell for $2.50. At the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the very same can was costing $12. Ridiculous. Yeah, Ben is answering here. Daley Thompson was a great British athlete. Advert was probably only seen in the UK. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lucozade might even be a British only drink. Okay, who remembers getting Lucozade only when they were unwell, and also coming in a glass bottle that was wrapped in sort of orange plastic and tied almost like a gift. Keith Knight says they will never do an action figure called Keith, even if they brought out a fat recovering alcoholic retired cop figure. They still wouldn't be that stupid as to name it Keith. I don't know. Keith's, I think that's a pretty cool name. So here we've got a stream topic idea. Non-advertised features of toys, like the aforementioned AA battery feature of Soundwave, or where the Kenner Falcon attaches to the Star Destroyer. I know what you're talking about with that feature where it attaches, but was that by intention or was that just a coincidence? I don't know. So Kieran's again talking about Daley Thompson. I'm assuming he's still alive, is he? We are going to have to binge watch all the Harry Potter films when you. Oh no, you know what? I really don't care for kids' movies too much. I've not seen. There are tons of movies that I've not seen, not necessarily kids' movies, but Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, tons of the Marvel stuff. What else? I don't know. If people suggest movies, I'll say if I've seen them or not, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just don't seem to have the time to sit down to watch movies. And Gojitron is saying one of the Voltron pilots was named Keith, so there was an action figure called Keith. Can we all agree that we need Mask to be reissued? How do we make that happen? Because it must. Yeah, that's a really good point. Maybe we have to start one of these online campaigns. It doesn't make sense as to why this line has not been reissued. I don't know what it is, but yeah, absolutely. So I used to collect Lego Star Wars until they re-released old models but with slight tweaks. Yeah, I saw that happening as well, and I wasn't particularly happy with that either. So Anthony is also a huge fan of Fisher-Price, says the Fisher-Price Adventure people named Dean is the rider of the motorcycle and not the sidecar guy. So it was even the cooler of the two figures was named Dean. The name Keith Knight does have a ring to yeah. Does anyone keep hearing a phone buzz or ring? It might be me buzzing down here, possibly. There was a baddie in the bill called Keith Knight. Is the bill still on? I don't know. So what's this? Lego is so prolific that most major shopping centers have a Lego store. even at Disney World, they have exclusives, but done correctly. They're always on the shelf if you want them. Yep, that's if you make them and make them available, people will buy them. I need to get around to purchasing those reaction Maiden figures. I believe I watched your review on. Yeah, they're a lot of people don't really care for Super 7, but I was quite happy with those figures, especially the fact that the card backs themselves are like pieces of art. So a toy related to one of your favorite bands is one of the coolest things. Ah, excuse me. Jody has the motorized Lego AT-AT, and he raced it against Chris Miwa's Triptychon. That's cool. A Maiden favorite line, and you know that I know that, and I know that you ain't got that long to last. Yeah, the Phantom of the Opera. On the first album, after the song ends, there's a weird vocal from Paul Diano, and I can't remember what it says. Oh, it tortured me back at your lair. That kind of scared me the first time because obviously the song ends, and you think that's the end of it, and then this voice just comes out of nowhere. Mr. Nooner. Ah, no. Those little icons there. You've been blocked already. Okay, I'm going to let you stay for now, but do not step out of line because you know what you did. And I don't appreciate that. But for now, if you behave yourself, you can stay and watch. Yeah, Jody, I think we know who this is. Oh, thank you, Jody. That's kind of you to put that out there. Gerard says it's an awesome approach. Oh, thank you. And Kieran says, if you're enjoying it, please hit the like button. Thanks, Kieran. I would love the Lego Superstar Destroyer, but it goes for crazy. Oh, yeah. I guess the Lego sets, they have a shelf life, so to speak. And sorry about this 1 second. Yes, so they're released for a time, and then once it's reached the end of that cycle, they are gone. You cannot get them again. So, Biker Scout is here. Good to see you. So you recommend the Lego Movie? It's very good. It's definitely not just for kids. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I've just gotten this thing lately where I'm not a fan of modern kids things at all. Like I'll definitely watch the old stuff I used to watch as a kid and love it. But modern stuff does not really do it for me. And this is talking about Chris Adler as a machine. Yeah, he did a great job on the last Megadeth album. And Monkey Boy likes Danny Carey from Tool. Yeah, very sort of good technical drummer. My favorite Lego as a kid was the Technic car with the fully working gearbox and diff. Oh yeah, that was one I always wanted but never had the chance to get. And Kickback remembers the Daley Thompson ads. So what Maiden song? It was the Phantom of the Opera was in the ad for Lucozade, and that featured Daley Thompson on the running track. Fantastic ad. In fact, I still remember it had the sort of traffic lights turning from red to green, and he takes off just as the song kicks in. Fantastic ad. You know what? I should really do a video looking back at my favorite 80s TV commercials. There are tons that I remember. A fun fact, Lego was very hesitant to do Star Wars as their motto is not to do war-based toys. Yeah, um, true. And thinking back, we didn't really get weapons as such with the classic space. There were some that were some kind of implied, but there were no like real full-on weapons. The castles, yeah, I never had any of the castles as a kid. Although I did have a couple of knights that I remember getting in a bag of Lego from an Oxfam shop one day. What do you think about the Kenner Batman figures from the '89 Batman movie? Great vehicles and the awesome Wayne Manor Batcave playset. Kenner got the license for the toys after Toy Biz. Uh, Honestly, I haven't really looked at them. Again, for me, the only Batman that I want to collect is from the TV show. As much as I like the other versions of Batman, I just have a real strong connection with the Adam West Batman. And Keith says, yes, 16th on the hi hat always sounds a bit disco for me for a Maiden song. Absolutely. The pace of Hallowed Be Thy Name is what makes it one of the best. Yeah, but are you talking about the studio version or the live versions? Because to me, there's no contest. The live version's just so much better. The son of Maiden's Harris is a member founder of the very decent metal band, the Raven Age. Saw them. Those Raven Age were the opening band at the last concert I went to. That was Maiden's. Oh God, I was going to say Visions of the Beast. How long ago was that? What the hell was that tour for the video game? Legacy of the Beast tour. Yeah. The drumming on Zappa's Hot Rats instrumental album is awesome. Just jumping on here, re the last stream, two of the best bands, not just Scottish, the Cocteau Twins and the Jesus and Mary Chain. I absolutely remember those names. I don't remember any particular songs from them, unfortunately. Um, yeah, Keith the Barbarian doesn't have the same ring as Conan. Um, I think the sound you're hearing is when Dean gets a bit louder, he's hitting the cap of his mic, causing a bit of over speak. Possibly, I don't think so. You could only get Lucozade in the chemist back. Yes, thank you, Stephen. So it was definitely when you had the cold, and that was the only time I ever got Lucozade. And also, I remember the glass bottle itself had sort of these raised dimples around the neck, like a grip almost. But that orange plastic wrapper always intrigued me. Lucozade was also here in Ireland. We got commercials on TV, and yes, we did only get it when you were sick. Yeah. Prince said, you can't understand the words of Cocteau Twins songs, but their harmonies put you in a dreamlike state. Interesting. So, there are just too many Marvel movies. It does seem that way to me. And it also seems like the way we're heading is going to be far too many Star Wars shows, but maybe that's what people like. And Mask had a great theme song. Well, that's not quite correct. It had the best theme song, absolutely. Uh, we all need a Keith Chegwin figure. So when did he die? He couldn't have been that old, surely. Um, let's see. The Kenner Falcon Star Destroyer feature was intended There is a pre-release promo picture from Kenner showing it attached, plus the decal on the Star Destroyer shows a docking claw. That's actually pretty cool. This is interesting. All Disney stores bar one have closed in the UK now. Have you tried Polar Seltzer? I'm sure I have. I don't have any brand loyalty. I just buy whatever is cheapest at that time. So another Keith. So it's a Keith meaning Keith, and he has a cat called Chaos. So to see a Keith Chaos caused him to have a double take. That's quite funny. Are you going to get the Maiden pops? No. I'm not a fan of pops, although I do have a few, simply because I have the Duran Duran pops, because those were the only Duran Duran figures available, and I have 2 Batman pops. That's it. So 90% of Keith's collection is Super 7 in reaction. I was so happy when they started doing more music figs. I got the Misfits, Fiend, an Iron Maiden, Zarface, Milo, and all the Rancid figs. That's cool. So have you checked the Matt Tracker YouTube channel? He's a big proponent of getting Mask reissued and got some good videos of fan-made stuff. Yeah. No, that's good. If this can lead to getting Mask made again, it's all good. Bricklink is great for getting retired Lego sets or just minifigs from expensive sets. Yeah, now does Bricklink, do they have the plans for all the Lego sets with an inventory of what bricks you need? Because I remember when 2 years ago, or may have been more than 2 years ago now, that I looked on one of these websites and got the inventory of what bricks I needed to build a couple of my old space sets. Very useful, actually. You should do a video on just Iron Brew ads. Yeah, I've been sent a number of the recent Iron Brew ads. They are pretty funny, actually. The one that sticks in my mind from way, way back was when the kid is walking his girlfriend home and she drops her keys and it's dark and she can't see, so he just bends over the lamppost to shine some light. Megan said, I was buzzing when you said Phantom of the Opera, thinking you meant the musical, but looked up the advert and realized it's the name of the song. Of course it is. The Phantom of the Opera from Iron Maiden. Mask was set to return as a movie in 2021 starring Ryan Reynolds. It was to share a cinema universe with the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie, but Snake Eyes was a flop, so it's all fallen apart. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, the question is, are there enough of us of this age that would buy new Mask toys to make it worth their while producing them? I guess that's what they're asking themselves. If you're going to do a video on 80s toy ads, you really need to do the Green Cross Code, of course, with Darth Vader. I could never understand when my mom would say, that's Darth Vader. I'm saying, that's not Darth Vader. Darth Vader's got a black helmet and a cape, not some boy in green and white overalls, but of course it was David Prowse as the Green Cross Code man. What's this? Ostrack says, hey, from Canada. Do you also collect comics or vintage records? Well, records, no. Comics, I don't necessarily collect, but I have got a few vintage comics lately. I do love looking at old comics, and also the smell of that old newsprint is fantastic. So Cheggers died in 2017. He's only 60. Wow, that's a shame. Excuse me. I think it was because Lucozade was pretty much pure sugar, so it helped when you were down. Yeah. Now, I think Lucozade is now marketed as an energy drink. Am I right? Has anyone seen Dune the movie? It's awesome. I have not. Um, I actually isn't on my to-do list, but if you think it's good, I will check it out at some point. Have you seen the fan-made 18-wheeler trailer for Rhino? Lights, sounds, motorized guns, launching missiles. I have not, but that does sound pretty damn cool. Um, Iron Brew, we should name her Fanny. Yeah, I did see that commercial. That was pretty good. Um, the composer of the Mask theme did other good ones and was married to Miss USA. Ah, lucky man. Mask is too expensive to produce versus projected profits. Mechanisms are complex and of a yeah. Well, that is the problem, I guess. The fact that those were very well engineered toys. Um, Although to be fair, uh, are they any different to some Transformers? Keith says the Green Cross Code Man was almost wearing a Hibs tracksuit. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I'm trying to think, was he the Green Cross Code Man before Star Wars? I'm not entirely sure. Um, Rest in peace, Dean Stockwell. Yeah. This is interesting. So Lucozade was created in Newcastle in 1927, bought by Beechams in 1938, and marketed as an energy drink for the sick. It was mainly sold in pharmacies. After 1980, it was rebranded as an energy drink. So I'm wondering if my memories of it being in the glass bottle wrapped in plastic would have been from the late 70s then. Same thing with, what's it called? The black currant cordial. Ribena. I think I only got Ribena when I was sick as well. Strange. I want a good modern live action movies of Mask, Voltron, Micronauts, Transer Z, and Gatchaman. Wow, yeah. Interesting. I was looking on YouTube yesterday to see if it's possible to watch all of Battle of the Planets. And whilst there are a lot of episodes, it's not the full series, so I'm hesitant to start watching it there. Have you heard? I heard you talking about music. Have you listened to the new ABBA album? Maybe this was already discussed. No, excuse me, I've not. The thing about ABBA is when I listen to ABBA now, I get transported right back to being, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old because my mom used to listen or had Radio 2 on during the day. And a lot of those songs were played. And it just takes me right back. And there's another one that always hits a chord with me is that Love is in the Air. When I hear that song, I can actually remember where I was in the house when I heard that song. It's crazy. Same with the Star Wars disco version. I can still remember. Maybe I was 3, 4 years old. Nah, more than that. Maybe 8, say. But that coming on the radio and it was in the kitchen. And I remember when R2D2 beeped, I almost you know styled myself. I was so excited. Um, so Prowse was in A Clockwork Orange, yeah. There's a comic book shared universe with Mask and the Micronauts. I didn't know that. So John Pertwee did the Green Cross Code adverts before they brought in Dave Prowse as the Green Cross Code Man. Ah, that rings a bell, actually. Um, so what 1970s Japanese toys do you like? I I cannot answer that. Um, all the stuff I liked, I don't think were from any Japanese lines. Yeah, hot Ribena was a thing for a while. Yeah. Also, you also knew when some kid had been drinking Ribena because of the purple moustache that was left. My last name is Swedish for chaos. I was really into Swedish crust punk for a long time. I have to say, I've never heard of Swedish crust punk before, but it sounds interesting. There has been a live action Gatchaman. Didn't know that either. Um, so, Jody, again, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I've already upped my game a little bit on Patreon, so there's a lot more exclusive stuff going on there. What's this? Who do you think you are, mate? Slating Marvel, actually just being disowned, no uncle to me. Hey, I didn't say it was bad. It's just I've not watched all these movies. There's too many movies. And they all seem connected in some way, so it seems you have to watch them all to get the full picture. And I don't have time for that. And I did watch that one that was on Disney Plus every week. Forget what it was called. WandaVision. I didn't really understand it, so yeah, I'm not saying Marvel's bad. It's just like, hey, maybe I'll watch them one day. Who knows? Um, David Prowse came to my school as the Green Cross Code Man. It was defo after the first Star Wars, and I only had Lucas age when I was ill too. Yeah, it's funny how these things stick with us. Dave Prowse was an actor who appeared in Callan, Benny Hill, Hammer horror films, and Clockwork Orange. Then he became the Green Cross Code Man in 71 to 90. Wow, I didn't know he was doing it up until 1990. Gojitron says, nothing Micronauts has been better than the original Marvel comic. Okay. So Jodie is saying, well, is that just welcome to Rebecca, or did she say something else? I hope I've not missed anything. Okay. The Meko Star Wars Cantina theme is interesting. I want to look for it on Spotify. Yeah. Keith Chaos says, I would definitely buy Mask Retro. Oh, absolutely. But the question is, do you want to keep them that same scale, or would you be open to having them bigger? I think I'd like them just the way they were, especially those 2 packs of figures. That okay. We're maybe in agreement that the vehicles themselves are too complex to manufacture at a cheap price, but at least give us those 2 packs of figures again. That would be cool. Does anyone know if Micronauts is coming to the big or small screen? I have no idea. Can't beat a hot Vimto on a cold day. Funnily enough, speaking of Vimto, so obviously in America, it's all American products for the most part. There are some imports, Like my supermarket gets a lot of British candy, which is pretty good. But a few months back, popped into a, how do I say this in the correct way? A Middle Eastern store. And they had a whole ton of boxes or tins of Quality Street and Vimto, believe it or not. I don't know what the connection to the Middle East is, but yeah. Um, yep, there is a Matt Tracker GI Joe. Yeah, I've seen that, but the fact that it's only Matt Tracker doesn't make me want to get them, because if I got that, I wouldn't be happy that there weren't the other characters. Oh, excuse me. We need a Wurzel Gummidge figure. He was the granddaddy of head swaps. I did not like Wurzel Gummidge at all. In fact, that was an ITV show, I think. And for whatever reason, I was definitely more of a BBC guy. So Kieran says the Micronauts is now owned by the same company behind the awful Snake Eyes movie, so it doesn't look good. And Rebecca says, fair enough, I guess, yes. Don't guess, you know it. There is a vintage John Pertwee Wurzel Gummidge doll with multiple heads. So there you go. I always heard that Prowse was a prick in real life. Don't know. It's exactly the same with me in Aberdeen. Whenever I hear their songs, it takes me back to being 3 or 4 years old. Yeah, it really is. Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm unique in this, but maybe it's because I spend so much time researching the 80s that I get a lot of memories coming back. But I am getting such vivid memories coming back. And I'm talking about this. No, okay, I'm weird. Okay, we know that. But I'm getting to the point where I'm wondering if I am actually engaged in some kind of cerebral time travel, because I'm thinking about things that happened decades ago, but in addition to thinking about the thing I'm thinking about, I'm also getting the thoughts I had at that time, if that makes sense. And it's quite weird, but in a good way. I love it. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, for example, if I'm thinking about a certain Lego set I built back in 1982, I can remember building the set, but I'm also aware that outside the window there were leaves falling off the tree, if that makes sense. And it all ties in. So maybe I am time traveling in some way. It would be cool if I could harness that power. I would go back in a flash and maybe never come back. But anyway, there was a Micronauts cartoon that was being planned as far back as 4 years ago. I believe it died in development hell. Also the same with memories with the Love Boat theme. Yep, another one that really gets me is the what was the hell is it? Is it Time Tease television? The brass sound of that. I've been watching another old show from the 70s on YouTube, and that was London Weekend Television. If you remember the way the LWT would come across the screen, and the sound of that just sent me right back in time. Also Chips, yeah. Bobby Collins, hey pals, just got home. Everyone having a nice, yeah, absolutely. So Daniel confirms that he'd rather have reissues of the 80s toys than modern versions. Yeah, definitely. We all know that the best thing from the 80s is Michael Ball. No, no. But the funny thing is, so my niece here is a big Michael Ball and Alfie someone. I call them Michael Balls and Alfie Boy. But fortunately, I don't think Alexa in America knows who Michael Ball is. So we had a a family
Here's
FaceTime.
something I found on the web. According to
Alexa,
observ-
stop. We had a family video chat, and every time we tried to get it to play Michael Ball, it would play Michael Bublé, who was someone I've never heard of, but apparently Mrs. 88 thinks he's a great singer. So there you go. So no, there's no Michael Balls, and I don't remember him in the 80s, but anyway, yes, Michael Balls. Having a good day. Good point. Always roses for me. Never been a fan of Quality. You see, Quality Street I thought was second class because one of their candies was that toffee penny, which one was a nightmare for your teeth, but two, there was no chocolate on it. And what is the point in that? My favorites are the purple Quality Street, the hazelnut in the caramel and chocolate. I don't know if they make them still, but back in the day, it was the half barrel that was filled with caramel also. And there was one, I think it was the green wrapper, might have been very much like a Bounty. It was like coconut wrapped in chocolate. But yeah, Quality Street to me were second to Roses. Oh, so Una Stubbs has passed away. That's a pity. So whenever Monkey Boy hears ABBA, he wants it to stop. Yeah, you know what? Okay, until maybe a decade ago, I would have been of the same opinion, but I am now appreciating a lot more of the music that I didn't like back in the day. I really like it now. Maybe it's just because the current music that's out there is so bad that anything from the past is good. The strongest memories are the ones that involve multiple senses, yeah, and especially the sense of smell. I love ABBA. ABBA Gold, greatest hits. Yeah, that's the one album I have. I can confirm that David Prowse is a git up there with Anthony Daniels. Wow, that's a pity. Thanks, Connor. Deploy the likes. Yeah, we've got 50 watching and 22 likes. At least there are none of these so far, but you never know. And what's that? What's YouTube? They're going to stop displaying dislikes, which is a very bad move because there's been a number of times I've been looking for a tutorial. Most recently, I was having difficulty connecting something to a computer. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I YouTubed a tutorial on this subject, and the first couple of videos that came up had way more dislikes than likes, so I knew not to watch those. So if they're doing away with that, it's going to make it very hard to know what is good and what's not good to watch. And the whole thing about trying to protect small creators is such a damn lie. We all know why they're doing it, and it's not right. Yep, Jason remembers the ITV logo and sound. London, it was the LWT, and it used to sort of sweep around the L, the W, and the T. But the Tyne, was it Tyne Tees with the that just, when I hear that, it takes me right back. Your memories of Lucozade are correct. Wow, I'm really far behind in the chat again. I apologize. So the definitive ABBA collection is better than Gold. It really is just the singles that I want to hear. Same with Bee Gees. I have their greatest hits as well, and listening to that takes me right back. George, I will not be giving that instruction. Nice try. Now, here's the thing. We just got this Alexa a week or so back, so we're still getting used to it. And I'm addicted to these Mentos. I think it's Mentos mints, and I order them by the case. And yesterday, we're in bed, and we gave her the instructions, and she said, "Oh, by the way, you seem to be running low on your Mentos candy." I thought, what if I was secretly buying something on Amazon that Mrs. 88 didn't know about, and then goes ahead and announces to her that I'm buying something. That's not cool. So anyway, Keith Knight says, I'm customizing some old Playmobil stuff into chips. That's pretty cool. Basically, every human brain is supposed to work with total recall, but for some reason we cannot control it. Marilu Henner, the actress from the Taxi sitcom, actually can. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to investigate this, because some of the stuff that I can remember is just really, really in-depth stuff. And the funny thing was, I met an old school friend a while back now, but he was touring America, and we went to this bar to have drinks, and I was telling old stories from primary school, and he's like, how can you remember that? I'm like, I don't know, it just comes back to me. So I guess the next step is to learn to really control it and go right back in time. And Mark says his is going crazy too. Dean had to tell her to stop. Yeah. So he thought it, or oh, sorry, Amanda, thought it was Mrs. No. So you disagree with Mask being the best tune. Jamie and the Magic Torch, pretty good. Wordsworth, was that one of the characters? Jamie. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, thanks, Jody. So yeah, the other one, Rhubarb and Custard. Was that the I like that one. And Ulysses, I'm having a hard time remembering that one. So I need to know, was Ulysses on BBC or ITV? Because that is going to affect how I remember things. Do you like the reaction Back to the Future figures? I haven't actually seen them. Okay, here's some controversial news. I don't think I've seen Back to the Future. I also don't think I've seen Ghostbusters. I'm going to change that, but I'm just saying I don't think I've seen those movies. No, he doesn't. Well, yeah, if it's going to keep grassing on me for ordering stuff, but no. Jason agrees that the toffee penny in Quality Street was awful. Yeah, that if it didn't break your teeth, it was going to rip out fillings for sure. The toffee penny was to give to your annoying aunt so she would shut the fuck up and let you watch the Christmas movie in peace. Quality Street, another one that's coming back to me was a triangle in green foil, which might have been, was it praline filled chocolate? That was pretty good, actually. What was this? I don't want to say Quality Street was a poor man's roses in case of offending. No, I think it was, though. I really do. So Keith says 49 likes, and Kieran says 55 watching and 49 likes. Interesting, because I've got YouTube on down here, and I'm seeing 50 watching and 22 likes. Who knows? I can't remember which Indiana Jones movie it is, but if you listen right to the end of the credits, you will hear R2-D2 whistle. That's cool. Now, I think I've seen all the Indiana Jones movies, but I'm not sure. Again, I apologize. I don't know what it is. I'm not stubborn about it, but if something doesn't instantly grab me. I don't feel the need to watch things that everyone else likes. I like what I like, and I guess that's all there is to it. Uh, I like ABBA, but having a manager who plays it non-stop, oh boy, yeah, that would get old. Like, you have to feel bad for the people who work in retail at Christmas. Look, I love Christmas. I love everything about Christmas, but I know that if I had to listen to Mariah Carey 10 times a day, every day, that would not be good. Do you remember the Kenny Everett become one of the Bee Gees sketch? No, I don't remember that. I actually watched a couple of episodes of Kenny Everett sometime this year, and I got to be honest, it really wasn't that funny, which I felt bad thinking that, but it didn't appeal to me the same way other shows of that time still appeal to me. Um, the reason we have it is because we wanted to be able to control the Christmas lights, because we have so many lights in so many different sockets, and it just made sense. Much of the 70s and 80s music is better simply because of the layers of instrumentation that were added. 8-bar phrasing and a melody that spans an octave or more. Yeah. Um, that's the one thing. Now, here's the thing about my upcoming Christmas song, which I hope will get released, is that, as you can see, I am all about heavy metal music, but I do like pop music. Now, heavy metal songs, bass, drums, guitar, vocals, Bob's your uncle, that's it, done. But with pop, there are so many layers and little bits and pieces that it's hard to know when to stop, because I just kept adding stuff to mine. I'm thinking this, it's starting to sound really cluttered, so I really had to dial it back. But yeah, anyway, excuse me. Quality Street have been around longer than roses. Ah, interesting. Had the Kenny Everett tablet for the Bee Gees hairy chest and open shirt. Okay. um, well, let's see what happens. I take it you can't say Alexa on a live stream now. Oh, it didn't come to life. Okay. It did the. Um, Let me try that again. I take it you can't say Alexa on a live stream now. Oh, very good. It's not coming on. So, anyway. Um, okay. Wordsworth was Jamie's dog in Jamie and the Magic Torch. So, BBC One was Ulysses. I'll maybe need to look it up to see if it rings any bells. I don't know why it's not immediately coming back to me. Connor says that Jamie and the Magic Torch rocks socks. Now, Jamie and the Magic Torch, that might have been ITV, yes. Another one of that period was it Don't Go Into That Trap Door, which was like clay shapes, I think. So Jodie's telling us the lyrics, I guess. Ulysses. Oh, Ulysses soaring through the galaxies. Okay, that helps me a great deal. Thank you, Jodie. Ah, Timothy is here. Hi, Timothy. What? No Back to the Future? Well, I don't remember. I don't know if I've seen them all. I think I may have done. It's just not something that I've had any great desire to do. So what I can say is with certainty, since 1990 to this day, I have not watched Back to the Future or Ghostbusters. I may have seen them prior to that. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. Sorry. Ulysses shown Tuesdays on BBC One at 4:35. So yeah, I would have. Yeah, I almost certainly would have watched it then. Excuse me. So here's a Christmas video idea. Dean watches classic 80s movies he hasn't seen and reviews them. Yeah, can do. So George avoids Quality Street, prefers Roses and Heroes. Yep. Heroes, I don't know about them because am I right in saying those are like bite-size Mars bars, marathons, not marathons, Snickers, um, a single Malteser possibly, a single little bit of Bounty. And Amanda says, "My God, Dean, no Back to the Future. What the? It screams of the '80s. You have, I know. I mean, and see, here's my problem. I am so easily distracted. Like I'll go into YouTube with the intention of watching something in particular. So I open YouTube, and there facing me are a ton of suggestions that look interesting. So I click on one, I watch that, and then down the side there are more suggestions. I click on that, and I end up forgetting what it is I intended to watch. And before you know it, an hour or two have passed by, and the evening is gone. I need to assign myself some time to watch all of these classic movies. I don't know what's wrong with me. Outrageous. I think you should rename the channel Something's 80s until you've seen Back to the Future and Ghostbusters. Well, all I'm saying is, I think I think that I haven't seen them. I don't really remember. I guess that's Back to the Future 3 is the best and the best version of the DeLorean. There, I said it. So I'm assuming there are only 3 movies in Back to the Future, right? Because if that's the case, I could knock them out in a weekend, I guess. But there are parts of it that I do recall, so I must have seen them at some point. It's just that I'm not remembering. Oh, thank you, Timothy. So he sent me a link to watch one of them. So Lone Dragon asks, has anyone seen Star Chaser, The Legend of Orin from 1985? I have never even heard of that. Excuse me. Are you old enough to remember the Evel Knievel toys? Those were some of my favorite toys as a kid. I wished I knew what happened to my rocket ship. Well, to answer your question, yes, I am. They were also some of my favorite toys, and I am very lucky to have received this year an original Evel Knievel in a box, brand new, never used. So yeah, one of the best toys ever. So Star Chaser is free to watch on YouTube. Okay, so hopefully some people will go ahead and watch that. The Kenny Everett was shown on Thursday after Top of the Pops at 8:30. Now, I'm not doubting this information, but my recollection of Kenny Everett was that it was slightly risque comedy, and I don't think I was allowed to watch it. And if that was the case, would it not have been on after 9? But then again, I do recall some of the characters. There was one, the punk, Sid Snot, I believe the name. And I remember when he was in drag doing the cross leg thing, it's like something about something about bad taste or something. So I do remember seeing parts of it, but then by saying that it came on after Top of the Pops at 8:30, that's suggesting that Top of the Pops started at 8. Now, I remember Tomorrow's World was on before Top of the Pops. But my thinking, but then again, the news at 6 obviously started at 6. So say 6 till 7. Could it have been that Tomorrow's World was 7 to 7:30, and then Top of the Pops 7:30 to 8? I'm not sure. Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses has probably the best bass lines in a Christmas song ever. Yep. Oh, yeah. Funny you should say that, because last year, when I was listening to my Christmas playlist, I was really struck by that bass line. Yep, they certainly were. Jason asked, oh, absolutely. Although, whilst the best part of Benny Hill was the scantily dressed woman, I still remember him slapping the bald man on the head, and the sort of sped up chase scenes that always seem to end each show. So Stiff Kittens worked at Christmas time, but you could get Christmas food for pounds on Christmas Eve instead of it going to waste. Yeah. So please watch Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. You're making me sad. Just kidding. Well, again, I keep saying this. I may well have seen them back in the day. I just don't necessarily remember. I don't know why that should be, but and Jodie agrees that Benny Hill is awesome. Yeah. Also, George says it flashed on. So that's when asking about Alexa. There we go. Stop, Alexa. Alexa, stop. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Did react when you said her name. Okay. My favorite kids program was Mr. Ben. Yeah. Now, Mr. Ben, was he the one that would go into the clothing shop and try on a costume, and then he would be transported into the whole world where that costume was appropriate? And then didn't he sort of walk, at the end, he would walk off into the distance? Or was that Bod? Bod and Mr. Ben are getting me confused now. So Kieran says that the Ulysses 31 theme used music cues from The Empire Strikes Back and was sued by Lucasfilm. Interesting. Good Lord, we're already at 2 hours. Okay, I'm going to have to do my best to catch up. So I apologize if I am skipping over some comments here. Yeah, Philip Schofield in the broom cupboard. The irony. Excuse me. Okay, so celebrations are Mars Bar, Snickers, Twix. Yes, celebrations and Heroes are the two separate companies. Was that Roundtree and Cadbury and the Mars Corporation or something? So okay, from what you've listed, I would probably go with the Twirl and the Double Deckers side of things. So I guess I'm more of a Heroes fan than Celebrations. Okay. You're thinking of Celebrations made by Mars, Heroes or Cadbury's. So yeah, I would go with Heroes. So is secretly ordering chocolate bars when Dean mentioned Snickers, Mars, and Bounty. Still haven't watched the original Home Alone. No interest. No, I've not seen it either. Scuba Pete is here. So late. Hate it when work is in the way of fun. Yeah, but that's life. So that line from Kenny Everett, it's all in the best possible taste. There we go. Cupid stunt. It's yeah, that was the name. It's all done in the best possible taste. That's when the legs got crossed. Kenny Everett started on ITV and was mildly offensive. When it switched to BBC, it became really rude, with nearly naked Cleo Ruckles and Cupid stunt. Right. I almost said that the other way around there. It's amazing that Kenny Everett got away with naming that Cupid stunt character. Very risque, all in the best possible taste. That's like Metallica's live concert video, the stunning cunning stunts. Oops. Scuba says, I should have wore scuba gear. We went to another store to fix their filter. I got soaked. Yeah. I think Benny Hill would not be shown on TV today. No, sadly not. Chris Smith. Hey Dean, hi everyone, Stan Solo here. I've just introduced my boy Stanley, 7 years, to Rambo films. He loves them. Awesome. Yeah, I have seen all the Rambo movies, so there you go. I'm not a complete heathen as far as like 80s franchise movies goes. Oh yeah, I have the 3-pack of Force Ghosts coming from the American eBay store, so I'll be doing a video on those once they get here. They look fantastic. A lot of people welcoming Chris. Yeah, Chris, Chris Smith, who does deliver figures when you order them. What a fantastic concept. I saw Metallica at the HFS festival in the 90s. They were fresh off. Oh, nah. In fact, you know what? We don't want to hear that. Rambo is good, yeah. What's the difference between a magic wand and a police baton? One is for cunning stunts. Okay. Had to be careful reading that there. I've watched Benny Hill since I was 2 years old. As a result, I laugh out loud every time he slaps the little bald guy in the head. Yeah, like, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, it was great. It was all good-natured. I was going to say family fun, but it wasn't necessarily family fun, but you get the point. Jim has not seen Ghostbusters either. Now, I'm not saying I've not. I can't say with certainty that I have, but I will be addressing that. Don't worry. Yeah, Jodie has told me this before, that they closed down an entire backstage area because they had too big of an ego. I guess that's what happens. Benny Hill was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Wow. Okay, so now we're all caught up. We've gone over time, which just blows my mind how fast these hours go by when doing this. And that was fun. A lot of varied chat tonight, a bit of music, a bit of 80s TV, and the revelation that I may not have seen some classic 80s movies. Maybe this time next week I'll be able to say, hey, I've seen all these movies and we can talk about them and whether or not I thought they were good or not. So anyway, I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to watch. Special thanks to those generous super chats. Thank you to any moderators that had to do any moderating. Thankfully, it seems we've not got quite so many trolls these days, and I hope it stays that way. And just as I'm about to sign off, I see a ton of comments. So I'm going to get to these. So please, no more comments. Let me just get to these ones. George made the mistake of watching Ghostbusters 2000. No, I won't. No matter what, I will not be watching that version. Sir Dean, thank you. Long before Rowan Atkinson's Mr. Bean, there was an original British comedy. It was Benny Hill. Of course it was. Thanks so much, Dean. Yeah, thank you. Kieran says, fantastic live stream, and thank you to everyone. I second that. Ben, cheers again. Great stream as usual. Well, thank you. And Amanda is saying, much better stream this week, Dean. No woke troll, which was absolutely, well, I think he's come under a new name, but we'll address that later. Great stream. You've made my work shift go really quickly. Awesome. Thank you. Good Lord. Jody, thank you so much. Very, very kind of you, as always. George, I'm curious about Afterlife, though. And Keith says, Dean, as always, outstanding, my friend. Thank you. Love you, mate. Love you too, Keith. Catch you all soon, friends. Yes. And George, this is the last one I'm going to read. Saw the trailer yesterday when I went to see Dune. Okay, thank you all. And again, wonderful time chatting with everyone. And I'm really getting into my stride here. In the past, I've been really nervous doing these. Now I'm not. And we get some really good topics to go with. So thank you, everybody. And stay tuned for more videos from All Things 80s.